What's going on, guys? I'm HairyPinecones, and this is Do Not Take This Cat Home. This is a visual novel with a bunch of different endings. There are some trigger warnings here: abuse, abusive relationships, amputation, animal abuse, animal death, suicide, I think was one of them, child abuse. So if you guys are a little sensitive to any of these topics, you're more than welcome to turn the game off now. No hard feelings, I understand completely. This is going to be a little series. We got one branch done here, but if you guys want to see another branch, let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe before we hop on in. You're not having a great day as usual. Oh great. It's the first time in a while that you felt like going out, but in the middle of your walk, it starts to rain. Typical. But maybe this is just a sign that you should have stayed home today. Yeah, you can always come try again tomorrow, right? You turn to head home when... Huh? What was that? There are only a few people around on the street. Makes sense due to the increase of missing persons around the area recently. Well, that and the weather. But none of them react to the sound at all. Curiosity guiding your steps, you follow the sound to the entrance of a dark, dingy alleyway. You timidly enter the alley and walk forward. The ground dampened by the rain makes your steps sound louder and more confident than you actually feel. We're gonna get a Kit Kat. Finally, the sound source comes into view in the cold, dim light of the alley. At the end of the alley, in a big cardboard box, is a cat. Huh, guess that should have been obvious. It's an interesting looking cat. Its pretty yellow eyes shine like gold among the dark sea of its black fur. Hi. It puts its front paws up on the edge of the box and looks up at you. We gotta take it. Oh. So cute. And it definitely knows it. You've never had much of an opinion one way or another about cats before. But if they're all like this one, it's a shock they haven't already found a way to rule the world. You don't think you'd mind bowing down to a feline overlord. You look around the alley with a small frown. Who leaves cats in cardboard boxes these days anyway? Wouldn't they just jump out and leave the box eventually? The cat doesn't answer you. Obviously. It also doesn't do as you suggest and leave the box. It's just looking at you, as if waiting for you to make the next move. Obviously, we have to take the cat. We have to. You know what? You reach into the box and pick the cat up, holding it out in front of you. Why not? Meow. You're all alone, and, well, I'm kind of in the same boat myself, so you bring the cat close. You didn't realize it was shivering until just then, but it slowly breathes easier as it presses into your chest. Why not stick together, right? At least for a little while. You think a little while will probably be more like a day. You'll be responsible and take it to the shelter tomorrow, but for now, let's get you out of the rain, okay? You stop by a small local pet store for some cat food, then head back home. You live in a modest apartment. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. You living alone in it. So it feels weird having another living being inside it after so long, even if it is just a cat. After locking the front door and placing the cat on the floor, you watch for a moment as it curiously explores the new environment. Leaving the feline to its own devices, You set about making the both of you some dinner. This music's good. You take out the can of cat food and open it with the tab on top. Put some cat food on a saucer and click your tongue to call the cat over to you. It perks up at your beckoning and rushes over. It looks at the plate of food and completely ignores it. Not hungry, I guess. You try not to let it annoy you. The cat doesn't understand the concept of money to appreciate that you spent your hard-earned cash on it. It's just a cat after all. I'll just leave it here if you get hungry later, okay? Cat rubs its body against your leg with a purr. You smile. That's enough of a thanks for you. It follows you into the kitchen as you start on your own dinner. You decide that you have enough ingredients for a sandwich. Bread toasted, mayo and mustard spread, turkey and cheese and lettuce perfectly placed, tomato sliced. Ow! You wince as you cut your finger on the knife while slicing a tomato. Stupid. You feel a little embarrassed for such a blunder and sigh, tossing the knife onto the cutting board. You're about to head to the bathroom for a bandage when the cat hops up onto the counter. It sniffs at the knife and meows almost pointedly at you. Don't worry, I'm alright. It was just an... You watch as the cat starts to lick lightly but enthusiastically at the blood on the knife. At your blood. You're so shocked, by the time you come to your senses, the knife has been completely licked clean. The cat sits back, staring at you. You feel a little uneasy. Sure, cats are meat-eating predators, but that was a little weird, right? Sure, you're no cat expert, but that was definitely not something an ordinary cat would do. Right? Well, regardless, you're not about to abandon a cat in need while it's still raining outside. Not after all your efforts. You were going to take it to the shelter tomorrow anyway. What's one night of awkwardness? Weird or not, it's just a cat. The rest of the evening unfortunately goes downhill from there. Even after covering up your fingers cut with a bandage, the cat keeps trying to lick at the wound. While you're eating your sandwich, while you're cleaning up the kitchen, while you're trying to watch TV. You gently push it away every time, but you're starting to get worried at the strange behavior. What if it's got a taste for blood and thinks you're food now? You're not sure what you'll do if it starts to get more aggressive. You keep thinking about the cat food sitting in the corner, untouched. Ugh, come on, enough already. You shove it away a little more forcefully this time, out of annoyance. You feel bad immediately, but before you can do anything, the cat meows sharply at you and dashes off around the corner and into the hall. You sigh deeply. At this point, you're just worried that it's going to take a bite out of you in your sleep. Maybe a vet will have an idea on how to calm it down. You can only hope. You don't have many other options left other than tossing the cat out in the rain. After finding the number of a local vet... I didn't click. What happened? Ah. The lights just went out? Great. Just great. Rain must have knocked out the power. You check your cell phone only to find that it's out of batteries. Of course. You must have forgotten to charge it before leaving out earlier. The outing had been so spur of the moment that it had no doubt messed with your usual routine. You grab a flashlight and turn it on. Uh-oh. It's quiet. It's too quiet. Did the rain stop? But then, why did the power go out? You look outside. The sky is pitch black. What time is it? You turn to check the clock. Ah! The cat sits on top of your digital clock, staring at you. Thinking now, you realize the clock shouldn't be working at all with the power outage, but the numbers are lit up. It's flashing between kill and help and going completely haywire. The cat stares at you. It's completely still. You'd think it was a statue if you didn't know any better. It's not giving off any indication that it's alive. It's not blinking. It's not even breathing. But its eyes. This isn't normal. You're afraid. You want to run, but you're afraid of letting the cat out of your sight. You consider tossing the cat out after all. But as soon as the thought enters your head, you feel a sharp urge to vomit. There's eyes. Its eyes holding you still. Even with your flashlight trained on it, its pupils are large. The flashlight flickers. And the cat is gone. Fear immediately grips your mind. The silence, punctuated with a rapid pumping of blood in your heart, is overwritten as your ears slowly start to pick up the sound of static all around you. How is the clock working with no power? You don't know why such a question matters at the moment, but you feel as if having the answer will make sense out of everything that's happened. That order will be restored. But no answer comes to your mind. You back away from the clock, to feel as if the air itself coils tightly and abruptly in response, like a predator prepared to pounce, but waiting for your next move. But you're afraid to move. You're afraid to even take a breath. But you can't stay still forever, right? Whatever is watching you, you can already feel its impatience. It's too eager. You don't know how you know this, but you can sense it as clearly as if it had whispered, "Let's play." Ooh. Right into your ear. Right into your soul. It won't let you wait it out. Not that you could, even if it did. You can't stay here. You have to run. With this thought, a sudden, primal instinct awakens within you, making you tear yourself into a hasty burst of movement, of action. But you're still weak from the fear's grip on your mind. Your legs tangle together under you, and in your haste, you fall to the ground. Oh! A sharp pain explodes in the center of your foot. At first, you think you've broken your ankle, but something warm and wet trickles down the length of your foot, pooling underneath it. You hear the sound of metal scraping on tile after skidding across the floor, as if it had been kicked. Winded from your fall, you look up in a daze and see the object glinting, and a strange light coming in from outside. The light pouring in from your now open front door. Thoughts of how, when, who, what, in regards to your inexplicably open door screech to a halt, as your brain finally identifies the metallic object you've been staring at. It's your kitchen knife, and still tinted red from your earlier blunder? But that's not right. Wasn't it completely licked clean by the... You gulp dryly at the pain in your foot. You barely have time to wonder how the knife ended up on your living room floor to be stepped on, instead of resting on your cutting board in the kitchen where you'd left it. When you spy something in the darkness just beyond the knife, it spies right back at you. A pair of glowing, golden eyes come forward as the cat emerges from the shadows into the light of your doorway. It pads lightly over to the knife, as if skipping in delight. It bends down to lap at the blood dripping from the blade. Your senses slowly begin to overwhelm you. The chill of the air as it starts to suffocate you under its weight. The sound of your shaky breaths, discordant against the static now piercing your skull. The dryness of your tongue spreading to your throat. The incomprehensible sight of the stray you'd taken in, licking away at your kitchen knife, once again completely clean. The scent of blood from the fresh wound on your foot. Blood? Golden eyes slide up to you as if in response to your sudden realization. Blood. You're hurt. Your foot is bleeding. You're bleeding. You're bleeding. The cat barely moves, shoulders twitching as if just considering the act of pouncing forward. But you're already on your feet and out the door. You run, or rather limp, down the empty street. The sky is black and bleeding red, but there's a strange light emitting from nowhere that casts everything else in white. The houses, the trees, the road, even you. Everything, except your blood. You can just barely glimpse the bloody imprints your injured foot leaves in your wake with every impact it makes on the ground. It hurts. It hurts. But you can't stop. You don't stop. Not when the shadows grow around you. Not when you feel the gaze of eyes all over you. Not when the road ahead of you is darkened by a long shadow of something behind you. Even then, you don't stop running because if that's the cat right there ahead of you, then what in the world is behind you? Keep running. Huh? Interesting. How very, very interesting. Ending 0. It begins. So there are 40 endings, as you can see. We're gonna do our best to get all of them. You're walking. Right. Of course. It's the first time in a while that you felt like going out. And you're actually glad that you did. The weather is absolutely perfect today. That's a good sign, right? Maybe your luck is finally starting to turn around. You tentatively allow yourself to feel excited for the possibilities of where you could go or what you could do. Maybe even who you could meet. You're so deep in thought that you almost miss it. The cat. Huh? What was that? Curiosity guiding your steps, you follow the sound to the entrance of a lonely alleyway. The sunlight only just manages to reach down in between the tall buildings on either side. You timidly enter the alley and walk forward, the loose gravel and scattered debris on the ground softening your steps. Finally, the sound's source comes into view in the warm, almost ethereal light of the alley. At the end of the alley, in a big cardboard box, is a cat. Huh. Guess that should have been obvious. It's an interesting looking cat. Its pretty yellow eyes shine like gold against the dark sea of its black fur. It puts its front paws on the edge of the box and looks up at you. So, you look so familiar, right? Then again, it is a cat. Not many different ways for a standard black cat to look after all. This one sure is a cutie though. Just look. It's not glaring at you or hissing at you for getting this close, like other stray cats have in the past. It's just sitting there, patiently, waiting for you to do something. We're always gonna be taking the cat, just so you know. Oh, why does he look sad? Well, why not? Right? You barely reach out your arms before the cat eagerly leaps into them and climbs up onto your shoulders. It butts its head into your temple, nuzzling against it. You can't help but smile at the cat's enthusiasm. Let's get you out of here, yeah? On the way home, you briefly consider getting cat food. You shrug at the odd feeling and move on. You live in a modest apartment. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, one you living alone in it. So it feels weird having another living being inside it after so long, even if it is just a cat. After locking the front door and placing the cat on the floor, you wait for it to walk away and explore the new environment. But it simply sits and looks up at you unexpectedly. We're gonna do something alone here. Like what? Clean the apartment. You decide that even if it's your day off, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be completely unproductive. You know, you have a guest and all, but you really shouldn't put off your chores. Best to get them done while you're in the mood to do so. So for now, you get dressed, roll up your sleeves, and get to work on cleaning the apartment. At least, you try to. You sweep the living room. You wipe the kitchen counter. Okay, you don't make your bed, but who actually does that anyway? Still, you notice that no matter how much you clean up, you keep finding more messes than when you started. You peek over at the cat. You suspect that it might be the culprit behind the mystery. But every time you rush to check on it, or catch it in the act, you always find it napping in the living room. You keep cleaning, but the cat, or something, keeps leaving more and more mess in its wake. Keep cleaning. You keep cleaning, but there's just more mess. More. And more. When you finally stop and look around you, you don't even recognize your home anymore. There's piles of junk everywhere. Do you even own this much stuff? You don't remember ever buying or receiving most of it. The piles tower over you. You feel claustrophobic. The stench of garbage is overwhelming, despite your hands feeling raw from all the cleaner fluid you've been using. Your eyes still burn from the bleach. You need some fresh air. You need to get out of here. Crack. You hear a crash and see a teacup you're certain you don't own smashed on the floor. You look up and see the cat perched on a teetering pile of china and kitchen appliances. It carefully nudges another teacup from the pile, sending it careening to the ground. But you don't even flinch as it shatters. Instead, you start to chuckle. Suddenly, you're laughing. It's so hilarious. Ha ha ha. That tears start running down your face. I knew it was you. You did this, didn't you? You pick up the largest piece of ceramic from the broken teacups. Didn't you? And throw it at the cat. The cat dodges by leaping off the pile of junk. The pile sways. It sways. It's falling. It's falling towards you. You can't move. You're buried. The pile fell on top of you. Broken shards of fine china and sharp utensils are piercing your skin, your organs. Your bones feel loose and limp, crushed under the heavy appliances. Warm liquid pools under you. With the last of your strength, you listen as the cat pads over you before laying down and purring sleepily. Yeah, a nap sounds pretty good. Ending 1. Not so clean getaway. Alright, now we're gonna try to catch the cat in the act. How are you supposed to finish cleaning up if this little imp is making a menace of itself? No. You know the cat's the culprit. You consider locking it up in the bathroom, at least until you clean the rest of the apartment. But it just doesn't seem fair when you don't actually have any proof. You need to investigate this further. You need proof. Not just for the sake of your sanity, but more importantly, for the sake of cleanliness. You start to clean again and peek behind you, catching mere glimpses of a paw here or a tail there. But as with earlier, you rush back to the living room. The cat is still sleeping. Okay, you want to play, cat? Then let's play. This time, you decide to lay a trap, one your feline friend won't be able to resist. You tackle the kitchen island counter and give it the works. It's glistening by the time you're done. It's so clean, you'd dropkick anyone who even thought of eating off it. The perfect trap for your little cleaning saboteur. You whistle innocently as you exit the room and hide around the corner of the entryway to the hall. From the angle you're at, you have a perfect view of the cat and the island counter. There's no way you won't catch the culprit in the act now. If it really isn't the cat, maybe you'll give it a treat as an apology for your suspicions. But as you deliberate if you should stop by the grocery store to get some fish, the cat starts to shift. Its back that was rising and falling evenly moments ago is now rippling in small tremors like an agitated wave on the Black Sea. It's shuddering. It's bubbling. It's bulging. Pop. What the hell? You gape in disbelief as another cat burst out of the still sleeping feline you've taken home with you. You're fairly certain that's not how cats give birth. But more importantly, you watch cat number 2 shake itself off before leaping onto the counter, rolling around on top of it and leaving fur and grime in its wake. Probably should have given it a bath earlier. You feel like your mind is lagging behind the reality of the discovery you've just made. But you don't seem capable of thinking beyond smaller observations. For example, though the hows and whys of what you're witnessing elude you, the more pertinent question that strikes you is that if the original cat is still sleeping, and the cloned cat is busy making yet another mess, then where are all the other clones? Suddenly, the 2 cats look directly at you in perfect unison. Cat number 2. Their eyes pin you to the spot with their intensity. But you realize, with the familiar sinking feeling of being watched from behind, that they're not the only ones looking at you. You slowly turn around. Oh. Packed in the hall behind you, from the floor to the ceiling, is a living, breathing, writhing wall of cats, of clones, all piled on top of each other. The glowing, golden eyes of every cat in the undulating wall of pure black fur. Every single eye is trained on you. Out of fear, In a sheer desperate need to distance yourself from this blight on reality and order, you take a single step back. And in response, the wall just breaks. The cats all stampeding over you. It'd be kind of cute if their soft paws weren't hiding claws as sharp as knives. You try to protect yourself, but there's just too many of them. Blood leaks steadily from your scratches. You feel dizzy. With what little strength you have, you turn your head and watch as the cats tear through carpet and upholstery, knock over vases and dishes and lamps, claw at the walls. It's going to take forever to clean this up, you think. Maybe you'll tackle it all again later, right after you take a short nap. With an annoyed sigh, you breathe your last breath. Ending 2, Double Trouble. Okay, we're just gonna go down the list here. We're gonna watch a movie. You're not tired enough for a nap, but you're too lazy to get started on any of your chores, so you decide to watch a movie. You get dressed in your favorite pajamas, make some popcorn with an obscene amount of butter, and head over to your armchair, only to discover that the cat is already napping in it. You frown a little in thought. Your couch isn't at the best angle for optimal TV viewing pleasure, but you don't feel like pushing it around and having to put it back later. The only options you have left are to sit on the floor or move the cat and reclaim your throne. We'll sit on the floor. You decide to sit on the floor. The cat is a guest after all, and you pride yourself on being a good host, if nothing else. Well, at least you would if you'd ever had any guests over before. You grab a blanket and some pillows and make a comfy nest in front of the chair. You pop in a random movie from your collection and can tell instantly that it's one of your favorite horror films. You've seen it a few times already, but it never fails to get your blood pumping. A few minutes in, and you're already invested, getting reacquainted with the story and characters. The scares won't come until later, but for some reason, you feel like something is watching you from behind. You know it's probably nothing, but you feel compelled to check anyway. You peek over your shoulder, only to jump out of your skin, jostling a few pieces of popcorn out of the bowl in your lap. The cat is awake and looking right at you. You take a calming breath, recovering from your heart nearly lurching out of your chest, and immediately feel foolish. It was just the cat, of course. It was so quiet you'd forgotten it was right behind you, even though it's the whole reason you're sitting on the floor in the first place. You shakily pick up the remote, intending to rewind some of the parts you missed. However, as soon as you press the rewind button, the TV shuts off. You blink, confused. Nothing else turned off. The kitchen's dimmed light was still on, the digital clock was still glowing, and the movie player was still rewinding. The power clearly didn't go out, so why? You feel a chill run down your spine as you catch the cat's reflection in the dark TV screen. It's still looking at you. Cats stare, silly. It's kind of their thing, right? And you're a new addition in its life. Of course it's going to study you closely to see if you're more trustworthy. As you mentally reassure yourself, you turn the TV back on. What? The TV's on, but the movie isn't what's playing on the screen. It's you. You watch yourself frown on screen as you feel your brow furrow in tandem. It's like footage of you in real time, like you're being recorded. You feel the familiar sensation of your mind focusing on small details to avoid the bigger picture of your current situation, avoiding the questions of how this is happening, or who or what is doing this, and why. Suddenly, Your mirrored self smiles and waves at you, all on its own. You don't wave back, too stunned to move. The you on the screen doesn't seem to mind it, though. It then stands up and walks out of frame, and a terrified yell rips out of your mouth before you can think to stifle it. On screen, in the chair, is the cat. But it's wrong. It's become a large, swollen mass of black fur. Its twitching pulse arrhythmical with its slow, almost methodical breaths. Its mouth is a yawning entrance to a black abyss, framed by a set of teeth that look very, very sharp. Glowing eyes bulge all over its body. It's still looking at you. It doesn't even acknowledge your on-screen persona as they walk back into frame and pet it almost lovingly. Then, the you inside the TV touches one of the cat's fangs. You flinch at a sudden sharp pain in your palm. You look down and sure enough, your hand is bleeding. You're not particularly afraid of blood, but for some reason, the sight of it leaking out of you sends another chill down your back. A thought, clear and terrible, flashes across your mind. It's not just the mutated cat in the TV that's watching you, is it? Don't look behind you. 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 You watch helplessly as your on-screen self smiles and nods at you, almost encouragingly. They stand in front of the cat's gaping jaws. They look into the dark depths. And as you're torn between the horrifying realization of what's about to happen and the gripping wonder of what they see looking back at them from that deep, deep darkness, they jump in. Darkness is a sudden presence all around you, pressing in, holding you down, and yet you somehow also feel weightless. You can't tell if you're falling, but it doesn't feel like you're laying down or standing either. You feel warm. You feel cold. You feel everything. You feel nothing. You feel nothing. Ending 3. Silent film. Okay, and now we're gonna reclaim our throne. You square your shoulders. Sorry, kitty, but that's my spot. You pick up the cat and place it on the floor. It's clearly upset with you. When you try to pet it as an apology, it dodges your hand and scampers away. You shrug and put on a random movie before nestling into your chair. It's some horror film that you love to heckle from beginning to end. Nothing but an endless string of pointless jump scares. Did the writers not know the meaning of the word subtle? Crash. What was that? Was that in the bathroom? The cat must have gotten into the medicine cabinet or knocked something over. Calming your thundering heart with a deep breath, you pause the movie and get up to investigate. The cat dashes between your legs from the hall. Fleeing the scene only makes you look guiltier, you know. You're even more reluctant to see the damage now. You just want to relax and watch your bad horror movie. You go into the bathroom and turn on the light. Just as you thought, all the stuff in your medicine cabinet is scattered on the tiles. You sigh. At least none of it looks broken or damaged. You crouch down to pick everything up. Click. Did the door just close? Did you bump it when you crouched down, or... Well, at least the cat can't come in and make more of a mess this way. The lights? Didn't you just replace the bulbs? They weren't faulty, were they? You never remember to hold on to your receipts for situations like this. You doubt you'll be able to get your money back. You stand up. You shake out the pain in your knees from crouching and open your medicine cabinet. Carefully, you place everything back where they belong, making sure nothing is missing. You close the... Oh, Jesus. You jump back, slamming against the wall, covering your mouth. You look back at the mirror on the medicine cabinet door to see... nothing. Nothing? What the hell? Something was... You know you saw something just now. You know you did, right? Definitely saw something. Oh my god. You rush out of the bathroom and slam the door behind you without looking. You enter the hall and... No. No, no, no. You shield yourself with your arms and... Nothing. Nothing. Again. You peek through your fingers and see... just your usual hallway. You... don't feel very good. You need to sit down. You carefully make your way back to the dark living room, trying not to overwhelm your senses any more than you already have. Maybe you should watch something a little more lighthearted. Or just lie down instead. You don't know. It's a little hard to think. You just need to sit down. Stumbling forward, you reach your chair, but... it's nothing. At all. Just the cat, sitting back in your chair again, looking up at you curiously. But it's enough. Your heart lurched so harshly out of a mixture of fear and anticipation that it completely gave out. Your eyes roll up into your skull. You feel yourself falling back. You're dead before you even hit the ground. God. Ending 4. Real subtle. Alright, now we're gonna take a nap. We're a little tired. You're a little tired from the events of the day. Making life-changing choices like committing to the responsibility of caring for another living creature really wears you out. You could definitely use a nap. You head to your room and get dressed in your pajamas before you decide to grab a glass of water from the kitchen. You head back to your bedroom, ready for a much-needed nap. Whoa. Only for the cat to race past you through the open door and jump on the middle of the bed. It takes its time kneading at the sheets before settling down and closing its eyes. Well, that was fast. You frown thoughtfully. Now that your mind's on it, you find yourself really craving a nap in your own bed. There's no way you're settling for sleeping on the couch. Certainly not the armchair, which means you should. You tentatively nudge the cat in an attempt to make it move on its own. It doesn't budge in the slightest. Keep trying. This is your bed. You push a little more firmly this time. The cat sounds annoyed with you. Again, you will sleep in your own bed. The cat opens one yellow eye, slides it up to look at you. Is its voice a little deeper than before? Move the cat. You move forward, ready to shove the cat in. Crash. Ugh. You're thrown back by some invisible force and crash into the dresser before falling to the ground. Wind knocked out of you, you look up in a daze. You don't quite comprehend what it is you're seeing. A strong, swirling wind is picked up, throwing items all over the place, as if a miniature hurricane had just taken form in your room. And right there, in the center of it all, is the cat, hovering in the air above the bed. Its eyes open, glowing like molten lava. You watch as a vortex rips open in the center of your bed, and panic as the swirling wind turns into a vacuum, dragging you towards the bed. Your nails catch and tear as you desperately try to cling to the carpet, the floorboards, any and every piece of furniture within your reach, bloody fingers slipping clumsily on every surface. But there's nothing you can do. As you touch the vortex, your body starts to disintegrate. Tiny particles of your body separating and floating into nothing. The last thing you see is the cat landing nimbly on the bed and kneading at your sheets before it curls up and falls back asleep. Ending 5. Do not disturb. And we're gonna sleep next to the cat now. You shrug. What's the harm in sharing the bed, right? You both have had a long day after all. You try to carefully avoid jostling the cat as you lay down, but it immediately scoots over and curls up next to you anyway. You smile. Sweet dreams. You feel like you slept for a long time. You feel a warm weight on your back, but you don't see the... Oh, mystery solved then. You feel comfortable? You consider getting up. But as soon as the thought enters your head, your mind fills with static and a deep sense of disapproval? Not yet then. Okay. The cat, jostled by your attempts at movement, kneads painfully at your back before settling down again and falling back asleep. You fall back into slumber too. Night. You want to get up. Claws digging into your back like a warning. Tomorrow then, right? It's morning. You'll be late for work. But the cat doesn't budge. You don't even try to get up this time. You just close your eyes, drift off again. It's the next day. Since the last several days, or has it been weeks? Or longer? You're not quite sure. You're hungry. You don't know how long you've been lying down. You feel sore on your back, but also on your stomach, your arms, your face, everywhere. You can't remember your last meal, the last time you drank anything. You've been sleeping all this time, but you feel exhausted, more tired than you think you've ever felt in your life. It feels like a giant hand is pressing you into the bed. You can't remember the last time you even considered moving, but somehow you know that you need to go back to sleep anyway. Everything will be fine if you just go back to sleep. You think you're hallucinating when the cat finally stirs. It stretches languidly before hopping off your back. You hear its feet padding through your still open bedroom door, its steps fading down the hall. You don't open your eyes. You don't move. You're afraid you don't remember how. You're afraid that the static will return if you try. But you eventually do try. You try to prop yourself up on your arm. It's thinner than you've ever seen it. Thinner than you think should be possible. Crack. The arm snaps under the weight of your body and crumbles to dust on the bed sheets. It doesn't hurt in the slightest. As if even your nerves have dried up and become useless. As useless as you feel in general. Just how long have you been lying in bed? You don't have much time to think about it. Your failed attempt at sitting up sends you tumbling over the side of the bed like a rag doll. but you think you're probably closer to being a ceramic doll. As your body shatters instantly upon impact with the floor, your head rolls towards the door, letting you watch as the rest of your strewn body parts crack and crumble and turn to broken ruin as your consciousness begins to fade. The cat strolls into view then, poking and prodding at the remains of your brittle limbs. Bad kitty, you try to say. But you think your jaw might have snapped off earlier as well. Almost as if sensing your attention, the cat walks over to you. Well, your head, at least. And you watch with your final conscious second as it lays down, curling its body around you. It feels warm. Well, maybe another nap couldn't hurt. Ending 6. Just a cat nap. So that was all of the do things alone endings. And we got 7 of them. I guess 6, not including the prologue here. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you want to see more, we can do another branch or 2. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video, and take care of yourselves.